Insights. We're here with David Doherty from Bloomberg. We just had a presentation from you on sustainability, which interestingly enough included waste management and the circular economy. So I'm curious as to why Bloomberg has kind of extended its research coverage into these areas.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, when we think about how things are made and how carbon is emitted into the atmosphere, we really looked at things like power and mobility, and we thought there's also a lot of other contributors to this. And how we make things and how we consume things is one of the biggest contributors to that. So we thought we need to really define and jump into how that works, how we might improve it, how we could change it.
Okay.
So from manufacturing, taking things out of the ground, bringing it to a production line, how me and you consume plastics, how we use them, and how it ends up in a different function, or how it could end up in a different function.
Then from your existing clients to kind of pull you in that direction?
Absolutely, yeah. It was twofold. Some were interested in terms of that they were worried about being disrupted.
Right, okay.
Others saw it as a massive opportunity. Right. So it really touched on all of our client base. So whether it's an oil company who produces, say, petrochemicals feedstocks, to a retailer or a manufacturer who produces consumer-facing goods. And they saw this more of a green marketing campaign.
Okay, yeah.
And we always, our clients were always interested in where they could get value from this new sort of buzzword, so to speak, this new process.
Yeah. So switching now a little bit, I guess, to another source of emissions, carbon emissions, which clearly aren't so visible, which may actually be a part of the issue. I guess if CO2 was purple, we'd be more worried about it. Do you think now that our generation or our generation of leaders can really make a change now that's necessary, or is it going to fall on the next generation to solve this issue?
Yeah, the question is it too late or is it too early for the next gen? I don't think it's ever too late.
Right.
The investment decisions that people make today and those who are downstairs at the conference today, they're going to be felt in 7-10 years' time and even further beyond that.
Right.
So it's never too late. I guess the real question is, at what stage does that take shape? And who does it impact? I mean, the kind of world that would be left to the next generation is going to be interesting. And how do you manage the expectations of the person receiving that, or the millennials or the next generation beyond millennials? I think expectations are set incredibly high. Right. They want something reused, they want green energy, and there's a lot of demands that I think realistically won't be met when it comes to them sort of running the show. But absolutely not. No, I think everybody can make their play, and I think in fairness to this generation, it has already. It's started. We've seen it in some parts more than others, but we're seeing solar and wind now very economical.
Yeah, almost the number one addition on the grid, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and feasible and encouraged and okay. You've got oil and gas companies being involved in wind and solar as well as manufacturers. It's a normal thing now. And we're seeing that with electric vehicles, for example, as well. It's becoming sort of the next normal thing.
Do you think it's normal? Yeah, I kind of think there's still a little bit of skepticism around. People say, we're going to get to 100 million, barrels, and it's going to slowly decline. Or do you see like a tipping point, as we saw in wind and solar in particular countries?
There's two sides to this. I think from the mobility side, there's a tipping point in when electric becomes the powertrain of choice. So when the battery cost comes down, that makes it competitive on like an upfront basis. With an ICE vehicle, an internal combustion engine vehicle, you will see that tipping point, and we see that around 2025. I think the important part there is the price parity, not the life ownership cost. I mean, if I'm explaining to my mother how you buy a car, she doesn't care that over 10 years she'll get her money back. She cares about the price today.
That's the point, exactly. But that's clearly going to become parable soon.
Absolutely, enough, But the other part of it is this growing demand for mobility in general. Who are we to deny somebody in a developing world mobility? And do they care about electric or ICE at that stage? They're probably going to go for four wheels and they want to move. They don't necessarily care what powers that. So when we see this growing demand profile, there's still a huge role for ICE vehicles. In fact, in 2040 we expect about 1/3 to be electric. So that leaves 2/3 for ICE vehicles. We need to clean them up somehow. Otherwise we just keep emitting more and more. So I think there will be a tipping point. At the moment, it's a status symbol. The normal person can't buy a Tesla. they can buy a Nissan Leaf, which perhaps
Yeah.
doesn't perform as well as a Tesla,
Yeah.
and it's not got that sort of glossy look to it.
Yeah.
So as we see it in the next few years, lots more models coming out. Volkswagen have announced a full lineup of electric vehicles.
Yeah.
That's when you'll see it becoming the norm, so to speak. And when infrastructure follows, and that is really the capping problem.
Right.
That is when I think we'll see electric vehicles become a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that what the driver is often for electric vehicles is it's actually not CO2 emissions. I think it's air quality, particularly in the likes of China.
Within the urban environment.
Exactly, in urban environments. Yeah, particularly in the likes of China, where again, even if they charge it off of a coal power plant, the coal power plant is not in the city centre.
Exactly, yeah. Hey, that's great, David. Thanks very much for your time. I think we've covered quite a few sustainability, issues, and it's good that Bloomberg is kind of covering more and more of those particular issues. And again, thanks very much for your contribution at the European Venture.
No, pleasure. Thanks very much.